All right, 2 days in a row. I have not put the slide in there for give you a little warning about when we're coming on. So here we go. For years, women have trailblazed their way into the NFL. At first, many men balked at the idea and continued to show their ignorance, guys like me, for years to come. Today, while there are still some dudes who still haven't come along with the times, there are fewer and fewer of them each year. Susan Spencer became the first executive in the NFL in the early 1980s when she was the Philadelphia Eagles general manager. But it wasn't until 3.5 years ago that the league saw its first black female team president as Sandra Douglas Morgan took over the operations of the Las Vegas Raiders. Sarah Thomas became the first female game official in 2015. And Maya Shaka was the first black on-field official in 2021. Jennifer King is the first black female NFL assistant coach. She worked for the Washington Commanders. And here on the show this morning, we are thrilled to talk to Madison Plummer, who is the first black female in NFL history to work as an equipment manager, being hired last year by the Los Angeles Rams. We'll ask her what it was like her first season in the NFL. What are her plans for the future? Does she embrace the term first? Some people do, some people don't. How accepting was she around the team? What about around the league? Oh, and of course, we're going to ask her, how tough was the loss to the Seattle Seahawks last week? Later, Gabe will be here, and we'll talk about the keys to victory for Super Bowl 60. Could it lie with two running backs, one who is set to collect a big payday as a free agent coming up in just a couple months? We'll also chat about the Saints, and tomorrow, hopefully, is one of the biggest days in the life of Drew Brees, possibly Jari Evans, and New Orleanians, Eli Manning and Reggie Wayne. Well, what is that honor? What are we talking about? Most of you know, but in case you don't, we'll tell you. And after that long intro, you can wait 30 more seconds because you know what? The Datitude Podcast, well, it's up next. And that intro I do have.
If you're looking for the latest scoop and in-depth interviews on the Saints, the NFL, the Pelicans, LSU, along with the best bets of the week, then lucky you. Along with high-powered, in-the-know guests who cover our teams, Jim Derry brings plenty of datitude. And he'll always tell you the way it is, or at least the way he thinks it is.
Where you at, Datitude family? UBN is thrilled this morning because apparently news I heard was the groundhog came back out. And all he saw was his fat belly from sitting inside of a hole the past week, eating berries and tree bark covered in honey. That's right. We cast no shadows here on Datitude, episode number 472, presented by Evangeline Securities for a Wednesday, February the 4th, 2026. I am screwing everything up this morning. Forgot to put the lead-in slide there this morning, the ticker, the 30 seconds to get you onto the show before we just start yapping. But no, I forgot it, so I just had to start yapping. We have a pretty cool show for you today. Madison Plummer, as you've all heard by now, first black female who works in equipment in the NFL, and she's a local. She is from North Shore High, I'm proud to say. North Shore High up in Slidell. And I'm doing a story on her for the St. Tammany Farmer as part of freelance. So I said, you know what? I thought the best way to interview her would be to get her on the show because, look, you know, she's a pioneer of sorts. You know, more and more as a girl dad, I will tell you this. I am so happy to see more and more women become involved in what was, when I was a kid, the impenetrable world of sports. You just couldn't get into sports if you were a female unless you were going to be in women's sports. And I'm so glad to see that is changing today. It continues to change in the NFL. We've seen several women game officials. We've seen officials in both college football and in the NFL, and it is exciting to continue to see. And now even behind the scenes, you might not necessarily see an equipment manager who's, you know, we don't really talk a whole lot about equipment managers, but, you know, it's great to see. She is just 23 years old, by the way. She's an assistant equipment manager. But I'm going to talk to her about what it's like. She was hired last spring. She comes from, like I told you, North Shore, then went on to Mississippi State. Her dad was a player in the NFL for several years. back in the late 80s and early 90s, Bruce Plummer. And some of you may recognize that name. He is from Bogalusa, and he went to Mississippi State. And then Madison followed her dad's footsteps, not only into the NFL, but before that to Mississippi State. So there we go. We're going to talk to her this morning. Some other things going on in the show. We're going to spend some time talking about the Saints, and we're going to spend our Saints talk this morning talking about, is tomorrow the big day? You would hope so. I mean, we have been shocked with, now we find out that that Robert Kraft isn't going to be in the Hall of Fame either, at least not on this ballot. The owner of the New England Patriots. So they're just hating on the Patriots. I mean, is Tom Brady not going to be in the end? No, Tom Brady's different. Of course, he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. As well he should, by the way. But so should have Belichick and Kraft, in my opinion. But anyway, we found out that Robert Kraft is not in the Hall. Will Drew Brees be in the Hall of Fame? I would think there's about a 97% chance that Drew Brees is in the, I'm not going to say 100.0. They're going to say 99.9, but I think there's an excellent and beyond, whatever is beyond excellent chance that he is in the NFL Hall of, not the NFL, the Pro Football Hall. There's a difference. The Pro Football Hall of Fame. Those are going to be announced tomorrow. So this is our last show before then. Also on the ballot, Jari Evans is getting his 4th attempt. We're going to talk about that later on, along with Eli Manning. This is his 2nd chance, and Reggie Wayne. I didn't realize this. This is his 7th time on the ballot. I did not know that it was that long. Torrey Holt is 12th time on the ballot. Darren Woods. Why isn't Darren Woodson in the Hall of Fame? His 18th attempt to get into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So we'll talk about that with our Saints segment today, this morning. And our poll question. You know, we've been having a poll question every day. We've had some answers already on our member Slack channel. By the way, if you want to support the Datitude podcast, you could do that by becoming a member on YouTube, or you could just subscribe. But if you want to support the channel financially, you can do so by either becoming a member or giving us a super sticker today. But the poll question this morning is, what is the earliest Super Bowl that you can remember? Okay. What is the earliest Super Bowl you remember? Adam Varner responded, Datitude member. He said 2002 game between New England Patriots and the Rams. To show how old I am, I was the night editor of the Times-Picayune back then. It was actually, I think, is it the 2002. So it was the 2001 season. I was the night editor of the Times-Picayune back in 2002, in January of 2002. I was there, got to go to all the festivities that week, to Media Day, to some of the parties. Did not go to the game because I was in the office working, helping put the paper together. But that's how old I am. And it's hard to believe that was 24 years ago. It was 24 years ago, 2001 season. Way back when. UBN says his earliest memory of watching a Super Bowl is San Francisco versus Denver in Super Bowl 24 back in January of 1990. And I was trying to think of what mine was. And I go back, I remember little bits and pieces, but I think it was Super Bowl 9 was the Vikings and the Raiders. Now, I was obviously alive. The first Super Bowl that I was alive actually was the famous Namath Super Bowl 3, but I was just an infant in a crib back in 1969. Jets and Colts, where the Jets got the big victory for the AFL. But going back in time, I think the earliest one I remember, I think it was Super Bowl 9 when it was the Raiders and Vikings and John Madden's victory in a Super Bowl. So I've got it up here. I've got a list up here. So when y'all give your answers, we'll kind of go through them and talk about them. But let's get started with the show. Before we get to some of the comments and some more things I want to talk about, there are a couple other things I want to talk about before we get to Madison. She's coming on about 11:30. We're probably going to get into some Saints before then as well. Probably talk about Drew Brees a little before Madison comes on. But I want to tell you about our friends at Evangeline Securities. It's always Super Bowl week for them. Of course, they are a company that can help you decide if it's the right time to sell your family-run or privately held business. And just as importantly, they can figure out what that business is worth. Is that you? If it's someone you know, it's time to reach out to the founder of Evangeline Securities, Nick Braden. He will start by scheduling a complimentary valuation from his office, either on Poydras Street or in Lafayette. And from there, you will be well informed to begin to make the decision on if you want to proceed. You know what happens after that. But you're going to want to come back and find out anyway. In the meantime, while you're waiting, you can check them out at www.evangelinsecurities.com. We also want to tell you a little bit about our friend Joe DiStefano. If you have a small company, you're looking for you're looking for health insurance, Joe D is the one to talk to. If you own a small business of fewer than 20 employees, you know how tough it is to get the best rates on health insurance. That's why you want to call Joe DiStefano Insurance. Joe and I have known each other for almost 40 years. I can tell you that he's someone that I trust. Look, health insurance shouldn't be one size fits all. And with Joe DiStefano, you get access to PPO networks and flexible plans designed to fit you, not just a cookie cutter mold. Joe's licensed, he's local, but he can help you no matter where you live and operate. From preventative care to peace of mind, we'll tailor a plan that works for your life today and tomorrow. Call Joe DiStefano at 504-234-2132 to protect what matters most. All right, you know what's most special about this show as we move on? You talk to us, we talk back to you. You type in your comments, whether you're watching on YouTube or Facebook. We invite you, especially if you're watching live, to type in your comments if you have a thought. We would love to hear it here, and we'll show it and talk back to you. Unless you're just a complete numbskull, then maybe we won't. One other thing before we get started here, I want to kind of a somber note this morning. Sad news in the world of journalism. Look, I've been in journalism my entire life. It's the only job that I've really known. Word coming out this morning that the Washington Post is laying off about 25%. I think they said, oh no, it was a third. I think it was a third of their staff. Yeah, y'all, it's not getting any better. It's not going to get any better for those of you who have who either just love the newspaper, grew up reading a newspaper, or if you're old like me, that's what you grew up with. I couldn't wait. My dad would get mad at me because I would take the sports section to school in the morning, and he'd go to read the sports section and it was gone because I took it. And just the iconic people that wrote for the Times-Picayune. It was why I wanted to be a part of it, and was lucky enough to have been a part of it for 35 years. And, things changed for us in 2012 when we got the news in May of 2012 that the Times-Picayune was going to a 3-day-a-week newspaper, and, eventually bought by John George's and changed that. And now it's daily again. But this business just isn't getting any better. And we hear the words of it seems like every other week it's someone else. And this time it's the Washington Post. The Atlanta Journal-Constitution shut its daily publication down, and it's sad. And that's, it's not getting any better. So as someone who's worked in this business my entire life, I don't know. I guess every time I hear these things, I start thinking about the old days and what it was like when I grew up in the business. And, one of those, the poll question today of the Super Bowl, what's the earliest one you remember? I can tell you that, it's interesting that UBN talks about his first memories are San Francisco and Denver, Super Bowl 24, which was in New Orleans in January of 1990. Well, I started working at the paper not too long after that, in August of 1990. And I remember going into the newsroom, and they still had piles of the special section previews from that Super Bowl. They still had the special section that came out that whole week and then after, and they were lying around. And trust me, I got my hands on them and I was reading through them, and I just thought it was cool to be a part of all that. So I don't want to say our business is dying. It's a tough business to be in, and people reach out to me all the time about being a sports journalist. And we're going to have Madison Plummer, who is a pioneer of sorts, or helping. Let's just say at least she's helping pave the way for females to become part of the NFL. Well, the newspaper man is, and when I say newspaper man, I don't mean them. It's completely genderless when I say that. There are plenty of newspaper women as well that I've learned from throughout my career. It just ain't there no more. Before too long, before I'm gone, I think it ain't gonna be there no more. It's going to be gone. It's sad. It's sad to see. Even here in New Orleans, I think before too long, this is nothing I know. It's a sad prediction, but I think before I'm gone, I just don't think there's going to be a paper in New Orleans. I don't think there's going to be a paper anywhere. I hope I'm wrong. I hope the paper stays around. But anyway, that is my sad news for the day. Not to be too somber today. UBN's kicking the can down Wednesday. That nation kicking cans. You trying to set me up, UBN? I'll take the bait. That is in reference to us talking about the salary cap situation over the past week or so. We spent a lot of our show on Monday talking about it. Interesting. We sort of got a response from our friends at another podcast that I won't mention here this morning. Did you see their podcast on Monday night? Found it interesting. I'll just leave it at that. Sav, good morning. You hate yourself for what? Oh, you watched the Pro Bowl? Tell me you didn't, Sav. You did not give them a view. Tell me you didn't. You missed the Sean Taylor era. Pitches and catchers, they do most certainly report in 6 days. Another Padres fan. Say it ain't so. Charles Mangus is here. Good morning. Hump day. Anxious to see what we get in draft of free agents. I'm not sure exactly what that means. Chad Gage, good morning. Tip of the cap. McCarthy's trying to steal our coaches. Hey, man, when you're successful, they want to take your coaches. That's not necessarily the worst thing on planet Earth. They want to take your coaches. That means that you were doing something right, doesn't it? Jerry, good morning. You have a little announcement to share here, but you'll announce it when more people come in. Okay, well, I'm looking forward to hearing your announcement. All right, now you got me curious. A-Town, good morning. Can you believe that 1 year ago, Datitude was broadcasting live from Radio Row at the Super Bowl? That is absolutely the case. We certainly were. I believe my guest on, I'll have to go look, but I don't remember whether she was this day or another day. I think it was today. I think Hannah Storm was on our show. You can go back and find them all, by the way, if you want. They're all there. They're all there here on the YouTube channel, whether you're watching live, whether you're watching on YouTube or whether you're listening after the fact. You can find them either on YouTube or you can go back and find them in the podcast queue. But yep, we did a show the entire week from Radio Row at the Super Bowl, and I gotta say, I enjoyed the hell out of it. I loved it. It was such a cool experience, but that was rough. Trying to broadcast every day from Radio Row, getting down there, putting this show together and doing it every day. You didn't even know who was going to be on the show. They just kind of showed up. You would try to get them together. Hannah Storm was on one of the episodes. Kyle Turley was on an episode. Red Bean was on an episode. Who else did we have on the show? Trying to go back in time and remember. I don't know. I'm sorry if I'm forgetting someone that was super. Larry Holder, by the way, wrote a very cool story this morning in The Athletic, an interesting story about how about how Fanatics is having trouble keeping up with the stock of jerseys being purchased at the Super Bowl because they had sold so many before they even went to the Super Bowl that the quote unquote quality was noticed by a lot of consumers that the quality wasn't quite there. Interesting. It's worth a look. When's our friend Larry Holder going to be on the show again? I need to ask him to come on. Maybe I'll ask him in late February, earlier March when we come back for season 6. Good morning, Gary. Musette says she wishes her path had been NFL bound. I will say this. If you work in the NFL, job's probably not going anywhere unless you just suck at it. That's interesting. Do you think you have more security working in equipment, or if a team sucks, and obviously the Rams don't suck, but if a team sucks, do they come in and clean house everywhere? Do they clean out the trainers? Do they clean out the equipment managers? Do they clean out just all the person? Do they clean out the food, the people who make the food? I mean, I don't know. It's a good question. JC's here this morning. Good morning from Denver. New OC has been promoted, 55 degrees and sunny. I didn't see that, Gabe. Who is the new OC of the Broncos? Do you know the answer to that? I don't know. It doesn't matter because Sean Payton's really the offensive coordinator. Who's going to hold Sean Payton's clipboard? We're going to find out. He's going to tell me in just a minute. Oh, by the way, Gabe Henderson says Davis Webb. Davis Webb is the new OC for the Broncos. Like I said, it doesn't really matter who's going to hold Sean Payton's clipboard. Gabe Henderson says his answer to the poll question is probably Patriots-Panthers game in Houston in 2004. That was Nipplegate, wasn't it? That was a wardrobe malfunction, I believe. Pretty sure that was a wardrobe malfunction game. Yeah, it was. Remember Janet Jackson? Just saying. S. Callie says, good morning. Can't wait. Let's go. Jerry, you reached 900 subscribers today on YouTube. Well, I didn't even, I got to go find you. Well, the Datitude podcast will absolutely subscribe. We had no idea. A-Town, we're going to talk Pelicans a little bit later. Do I see the Pelicans doing any trades before tomorrow's NBA trade deadline? The answer is yes. But we're going to talk Pelicans a little bit later. I have a slide for them. I didn't plan on talking about them early in the show. We're just going to wait. But yes, I'd be surprised if they don't make a trade, and probably a fairly significant one, to be honest. Charles Mangus's answer to the poll question is New England versus Green Bay. That's the first one you remember? That was what? That was 90s, I believe. I'm going to have to look it up. Adam Varner, good morning. Glad you're here. It's rainy day in Foley, Alabama. It is. It was raining this morning, but I think we're okay now. Jerry Lee says, Packers Chiefs. Man, you're older than me. I do not remember the Packers Chiefs way back in the day. That is a long time ago, my friend. What is that? Was that Super Bowl one? Wasn't that Super Bowl one? I don't know. It's a long time ago. Before me. David Herman, my poker buddy. Good morning. Glad you're here. Brian Cavett is here. Good morning. And let's see. All right, we're going to move on here. Dylan Smith, good morning. Last comment before we get going. What is everyone's favorite king cake? They can answer. Do you want that to be one of the poll questions? You can answer what's your favorite king cake. Have I tried crawfish king cake stuffed with boudin? And I'm not eating anything along those lines. Unfortunately, Dylan, because I am just, I've got to get this weight off. I've been on a diet for over a month, and now you're just making me hungry. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Not. All right, let's move on. Let's bring in our guest this morning. I am excited about today's guest. Madison Plummer is here with us.
Hello.
By the way, how are you this morning?
Good. How are you?
I am fantastic. Are you live from sunny California this morning?
Yes, I am.
California.
Say that again? Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Weather like right now in sunny California?
Very hot. It is. I
really?
It's supposed to get up to 81 today. Yeah. It has been very hot here.
Wow, it ain't hot here. I can tell you.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
We got a lot of our audience here is not a fan of the cold weather that we've had, especially one regular in particular who's really not happy with a certain groundhog named Phil. That's a whole different story. Well, let's get into what's going on with you, Madison. And first of all, I want to point out that North Shore class of 2020.
Yes.
The poor COVID class of 2020. You didn't even get to celebrate, really. But, do you miss home, first off?
I do. There's some aspects where I'm like, man, I really do miss the South because California is very different. But, I have grown to love it. Like I said, it's very different from the South. But I do really enjoy it. And it is always nice when we have an East Coast road trip and we get to go back to the South. So that's always super duper nice. So I see it at least once a year.
All right. Well, we next time we get you home, maybe we would actually be able to meet. I would love to have
For
a cup
sure.
of coffee with you and sit down with you. All right. Before we get to your actual job, I got to ask you about the team that you work for and how heartbreaking, obviously, the loss to Seattle was last week. Are the people are you guys over it yet, or is it still hurting you? Is it still part of the?
I won't lie, it still hurts a little bit. I'm about to say, I think up until after the game, it's still going to sting. It's just kind of like, you just think like, man, like we were almost there. I mean, we were literally a win away. So it's like you start prepping for things in advance. Like you know what hotel we're going to be at, you know where we're going to be practicing, you know where we're going to be, like all the things we're going to be doing. We're getting like warm-up suits in the mail that like, it's like, okay, see how your guys like these. So it's hard not to think ahead. So it's like when you get there, you can't fulfill it. It's like, goodness, like, you were so close, and then it just doesn't.
Yeah, it's just
which it happens, but that's life. That's the name of the game. But
Madison, when you go through a season like that, and I'm sure this being your first in the NFL was a complete whirlwind, but when you go through and it's week after week for 20 some odd weeks, and you do this every week, is it just kind of a culture shock when it comes to an end like that?
Yes, you always try and prepare yourself for it. And I, especially this being my second season, like I kind of knew like, okay, we're going into this game. This could very much so be our last game. Like, and that's how it's going to be. But it is still kind of hard whenever the moment arrives. And it's like, okay, dang, like tomorrow's going to be exit day. Like we're going to pack up everything. Like this is it. Like season's over. And it's like, I feel like whenever you're not going to the playoffs and like you have like a date your season's going to end, it's like you can prepare for it better. It's like, okay, I know our season's going to be over Sunday and that's it. But it's like when you're going week after week and it's like, okay, like we're still playing, like we're down to one of the 8 teams playing. Now we're one of the only 4 teams in the league playing. And it's like the NFC Championship was the later game last Sunday. So it's like you already saw who was going to the Super Bowl for the AFC. So you start thinking, it's like, man, okay, we're going to be playing the Patriots, like get to do this and that. So yeah, it's hard being like, okay, dang, like, okay, season's over.
Madison, you're spoiled because when you go work for a team in the NFL, you do realize it's not that easy. Like you don't make it to the championship game every year.
That is very true. Yes.
Super Bowl or bust. You could work. I mean, just think if you work for like, I don't know, we won't even say our home team. Just think if you work for like the Cleveland Browns or the New York Jets, something like that. Not that you wouldn't have gone to work for them if they wanted to hire you.
Actually, I have one of my really good friends works for the Browns. So
okay.
She knows how it is. It's like, all right. I mean, I know how the season's gonna go. It may not be the best, but it is what it is.
One day, I don't know how young she is, but maybe one day before she decides to get out of this business, if she stays with the Browns, maybe the Browns actually will.
Maybe she was able to go her first year. I think they went to the wild card round, so she has been able to see a playoff game.
Okay.
But I have been fortunate these past 2 seasons that we have been able to go to the playoffs. And last year we went to the divisional round, lost to the Eagles, and then this year going to the NFC Championship. So I have been fortunate to be able to see football post regular season.
Well,
which is awesome.
The Rams aren't going anywhere anytime soon, so I think you'll have some more chances to be able to. Some regulars, some members want to say hello to you. Chad Gage says hello. We're so proud of you representing Louisiana in LA.
Oh yeah.
Our friend Brian Cavett says getting you on the Saints staff would be a dream job. Maybe for him, maybe not. Yeah, you don't have to say anything. And Musette says she's so happy to have you on the show. Let's talk about. Look, I'm a girl dad. Okay, I am. I love that you are helping pave the road for, women in football in general, not just the NFL. We're seeing more of it in college football, and you went to Mississippi State, so you were able to do your thing there as well. But just, do you feel a sense of being sort of a trailblazer, a pioneer, or that aspect?
I do, but at the same time, like, I don't know, I'm still like processing that. Like I don't feel it sometimes, but then whenever I meet people or I'm approached by people and they tell me like how awesome it is what I'm doing and how many people look up for me, I do get the sense it's like, okay, wow, like I am doing something really amazing and like people do look up to me, and I'm glad I'm able to be that figure for people, and people are able to look up to me in that sense. So like it is really awesome. And like, I feel like the longer it goes on, I do start to see it more and more, how I am like paving a way for other girls and women in this field.
You are the first black female who has ever worked in equipment in the NFL, in the history of the NFL. And I mean, when you got this job, first of all, did you even realize that?
No, not at all. Whenever I became full-time, I didn't realize that I was the only black full-time female in the league. And I was just kind of like, that's crazy. Cause there's me, there's my friend Bree that works for the Browns, and then there's
Okay.
girl Marie that works for the Texans. And so it's just us three. So I realized, one, how small the pool is, and then two, me being the only black female, which I think is pretty insane.
It is.
Like, yeah. So yeah, it's pretty wild.
Have you embraced the term first, or is it just something, let's just, I'm just going to do my job? But I mean, I would imagine, and someone who's young as you are, by the way, as well. I mean, yeah. I'm sure this whole thing is one big whirlwind. I mean, you were just in high school 6 years ago. I mean, and here you are with the shot. I mean, is that term first something that you've embraced?
I would say yes. As the time has gone on, yes. I'm not someone, I don't like the spotlight. I don't like being in like the front or anything. So like whenever I started getting like all these stories and like things written about me, like it kind of took me a moment to get adjusted to it. Because like I said, I don't like the spotlight. I don't like being I don't like being up front and all that stuff. So it did take me some time getting used to, but like now I realize like, okay, like I'm a Google fact, like that's pretty cool. So it's like, I have started to embrace it more and more. And I do think it's pretty awesome.
And again, just you're just, to me, you're helping pave the road for women in general. And I talked about a list of women who have made their way in the NFL. And I look, the first black female executive didn't come along until just a few years ago with the Las Vegas Raiders. And, so to help pave that road, I mean, I would imagine that's more important than being the first of anything.
Yeah. It honestly is. And it's like, there's so many people that don't even know my job title exists. Like they don't even know that equipment managers are a thing until now. I feel like it's getting a little bit more relevant because we're like TikToks and seeing people. It's like, oh, this is how we pack for an away trip. This is how we do coach the player on helmets. And people are like, wow, there's a whole job dedicated to this. I didn't even know that existed. So it is cool. Not only my job getting the recognition it deserves, but also people seeing that there are women that do it in such a male-dominated field when they didn't think that women would even be interested or want to do something like this.
You gave me a little segue there without even knowing you were doing it. Can you talk a little bit about what is your relationship like with the players and the coaches? I would imagine they're much more accepting today than they might have been even like 20 years ago.
They're awesome. Like I see a lot of them like brothers I never had. And I am very big on, I like to give people the respect I would like to give in return. So like I respect the crap out of them and they do the same for me. Same with the coaches. Like there are some awesome people. Like Coach McVay is amazing. Like he is such an amazing leader.
He seems like he would be.
Yes, he really has a great squad of coaches and players. Like there is not a bad guy on our team whatsoever. Like everyone here is respectful and it's awesome.
Sean McVay, one thing, I didn't even realize this, but he seems like he's been in the league forever. Just turned 40 last week. So yes. I would imagine having a young coach also helps because, you don't have a lot of old fogies like me around anymore who maybe saw what it was like before. Obviously, it's much better today. But to have a young coach and someone that's closer to your age also, I would imagine, helps that as well.
For sure. Yes, it is honestly really nice. And then like some of the players too, like them being, I would say we have a fairly young team.
Yeah.
So like having like the players to be younger, like they have seen it more and like are more accepting of it as well. Cause a lot of them went to colleges that had female equipment managers. So it's like they've seen it before. So it's not new whenever they come here.
One of our regulars, Apathy, asked a question: is your worst nightmare seeing a player's helmet explode like Patrick Mahomes did in that playoff game? How many backup helmets do y'all bring to a game?
Now that, yes, I can only imagine how stressful that was in that moment for that equipment staff. Luckily, the coldest game we played in this year was the divisional round in Chicago. So that was something we all were very aware of. Like, okay, someone's helmet could crack. But for backups, pretty much we have a trunk for backup helmets, but every player that has a coach to player system in their helmet, so like has a speaker system in their helmet, they have a backup readily available. So like Matthew, like my boss walks around with Matthew's helmet like backup on his hip. So like in case something does happen, and same with our middle linebacker, like his helmet is extremely accessible to another guy that I work with on the sideline. So those are like right there, ready to go.
They got the green dot. Y'all make sure that you're ready to go with.
Because if not, everyone's going to be looking at us trying to figure out what's wrong.
Well, you don't want them looking at you, I guess, during a game, because that's probably usually not a good thing.
Yes, correct.
Was getting into the NFL, was it something that you always knew you wanted to do? I mean, when you were thinking about, let's just say, of course, at North Shore, when you're in high school, you never really know what you want to do. But when you were in Mississippi State, were you thinking that the NFL was an option, or did we're just going to see where this goes?
Honestly, not until probably after my freshman year of college, when I got my first internship with the Chicago Bears. I realized it's like, okay, this is something I can do post-college, and this is something I am interested in doing post-college. So I kind of stayed in touch with that, and like knowing in my head, like, this is my final goal. Like, this is ultimately where I want to get. And so I just kept working at that, like knowing like, okay, if I keep working hard and I keep doing what I'm supposed to do, I could end up in the NFL. And so post my internship with the Bears, I was able to get 2 training camp interns here with the Rams. And then upon graduating, I was able to get a fellowship. So like a full season here with the Rams. And I've been here ever since.
Okay. And what do you see for yourself in the future? I mean, do you want to stay in the NFL? Obviously you want to stay with the Rams. Is it the NFL what you want to do, or do you have yourself open up to whatever?
NFL is for sure where I want to be.
Okay, so how has it been so far? I mean, is it everything you like dreamed it would be? I mean, I can't imagine what it's like.
It really is. Like it's awesome, and just like I feel like for me, because I've always been a super big football fan. Like I grew up watching it with my dad. Like being able to be around people that I've seen on TV. Like, I mean, Matthew Stafford, like I see him every single day. And that's someone that like I would see every Sunday on TV with the Detroit Lions. Devontae Adams, like I see him every single day. And then like even like the up and coming guys like Puka, it's like that's someone else. It's like I'm able to have a great relationship with, and I see him every single day. So it's just awesome being able to be like a small part of such a big picture. And like being able to be like, okay, I'm part of the reason why we can do what we do on Sundays.
Musette wants to know, how'd you get into equipment?
So my dad, actually, we were at a swim meet before my freshman year of high school, and he met North Shore's offensive line coach at the time at the swim meet, and they were saying they needed like water girls essentially. And he was like, oh, my daughter would love to do that. He like signed me up for it without even asking. So I was like, okay, yeah, that would be super awesome. So did that at North Shore for 4 years. And then after high school, I realized that like you don't necessarily have water girls in college are athletic trainers. And I was like, I don't necessarily want to be an athletic trainer. So then I discovered equipment was an option. And so then I took the equipment route instead of the athletic training route. And so I did that for 4 years in Mississippi State as well, which led me here.
You still hear cowbells ringing in your ear?
We actually have a fellow Bulldog on our team, Emmanuel Forbes, and he has a cowbell in his locker, so I'll ring it from time to time. It makes my coworkers grumpy, but I love doing it.
Phil wants to know, what is the most complete uniform per player? I think he means what is the cost of each uniform per player?
It's honestly different. Like I couldn't tell you a certain amount off the top of my head because it's all Nike, and like since the Nike uniforms, the NFL, like it's pretty much all different. Like we get sent all the uniforms, like we get them they all get sent kind of like the same, but like we get them adjusted and altered to the player's fitting. But like I couldn't give you an exact price on it.
Do they basically send you a blank uniform and y'all have to put the numbers and names on it?
They all come ready to go. We just have to send them off to get altered.
Okay, interesting. Brian wants to know, how many hours a day do you put in? It has to be a lot.
So in season, I would say like a long day for me, I get in at 7 a.m. and I probably leave at like 8 p.m.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, pretty long day. But like in that day, it's like doing laundry. We have walkthrough, we have practice, like doing projects around work, whether it's like packing for a game or like having to stamp some clothes that we're passing out. So it's filled with a bunch of stuff throughout the day.
Do you have a day off?
I do not, but I wouldn't want it any other way, if I'm being honest.
How do you have a social life?
I hang, honestly, a lot of people at work, like we spend so much time together. So like it's a good social atmosphere. So it's like
Okay.
we hang out with each other whenever we have away trips. Like we all go out with each other. So I'm able to have a social life with people at work.
I remember what it was like to be 23, and I think I worked 3 jobs at the time and 70 hours a week, and I still found time to go out. So it's a lot different when you're 23 than when you're 53. How many members of the equipment staff are there? Ask Callie wants to know.
There is 10 of us total.
10.
So there's 7 full-time, including myself, and then we have 3 interns.
Okay. All right. I also wanted to ask you, you mentioned your dad, Bruce Plummer, who played in the NFL. Obviously, you don't remember him playing because that was before you were born. But,
correct.
But how much of an influence has he had? You followed in his footsteps, went to Mississippi State, and now you're in the NFL like he was. But how much of an influence, obviously, has he been in your career decision, your career path?
He's honestly been a massive influence because I don't think I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for him. And it's just, I don't know, him showing me football at such a young age and him like explaining it to me and walking me through it and just like keeping me as engaged as I could be without actually playing the sport, like really helped a lot. And it just kind of showed me early on, it's like, okay, I do have this love for this thing. And like my dad, he has 2 daughters. So it's like, he never had a son. He doesn't have anyone that can actually go out there and play football.
Right.
But he has me, someone that absolutely loves it. My younger sister could care less about football. She simply does. She just started watching football this year, and the Rams are her favorite team. So, and that's the only NFL team she could probably name off the top of her head other than the Saints. So, it's honestly, he's been like a really, really big influence on me, and I appreciate it so much.
So like both my girls who really could care less if football even existed. What's your younger sister's name?
Her name's Mia.
Okay, and is she out of high school or is she still?
She's actually a junior at Mississippi State. She's a fashion and merchandising major, so we couldn't be more opposite.
I was gonna say that's pretty different.
Yes.
That's pretty different. All right, Madison, I can't let you go without getting a Super Bowl prediction from you. And I guess I could probably guess who you want to win. But I'm going to ask you who you think is going to win.
I think the Seahawks are going to handle business out there. I mean, their defense is amazing. I mean, their defense is awesome. Sam Darnold, he has really become, I feel like, who he's supposed to be.
Right.
And he has all between JSN, Cooper Kupp, like Kenneth Walker. Like, I feel like he just really has all the tools on offense. Now, I'm not saying he couldn't go out there and be Sam Darnold that we've also seen in the past, but I think the Seahawks are going to handle business.
We're going to talk a little bit later about how I think the two they're really Ramondre Stevens is another running back. But if you talk about Kenneth Walker and you talk about Travion Henderson on the other side, I just think that those two running backs are going to play the biggest role in this game. And me, that's what I'm going to be looking at. And I think that's going to be the most fun part of this game.
Yeah, because the Patriots also themselves have a really good defense. They have some extraordinary corners. So I do feel like it's going to be a very run-heavy game. So who can stop the run?
Yeah, well, I don't know because the Patriots don't necessarily have a Jared Verse on their side.
That is also true.
But we'll see. Madison Plummer, I thank you so much for taking time out of your very busy day to talk to us here on the Datitude Podcast. I look forward to meeting you in person and maybe having you on the show again someday soon.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Madison. We'll talk to you later.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye. Madison Plummer helping pave the way for females to work in the NFL, and I love it. Again, being a girl dad, y'all know that already. I would love to see my girls get involved in football. They just, I don't know. I'm trying a little bit. The little one will watch for at least she'll watch. I could get her to watch maybe a quarter. The older one, like I told you before, do I still have the bingo? I don't know. Oh yeah, I still have the bingo card. Did I? If y'all missed it when I talked about it, what was it last week? This is the bingo card. This is what my other daughter, and you see she wrote it in green, so that's why you're seeing through there. But this was her bingo card. This was the only thing she cared about when it came to, and I shouldn't have done. There you go. We're getting a little white balance. Yeah, she had a bingo card. And she was sitting watching. Was it the championship game? Was it one of the championship games, or I can't remember whether it was last week or the week before that. And she put together things I said, and somewhere along the second quarter, she said bingo. Had no idea what she was talking about. And apparently, she made a bingo card, and I hit bingo when I said fumbalaya. Things I say in a game. Anyway, that's the extent of my girls caring about football. I am I love it for Madison Plummer, and I hope she continues on and she becomes a big old deal in the NFL, and we can have her on and say she was here. Maybe she'll be on again soon. All right, let's move on and talk about a few other things this morning. You know what? Gabe's gonna come on in just a minute, but I want to talk just for a moment because we've had a couple of questions about the New Orleans Pelicans. And I am going to just look. Are they going to make a deal at the trade line, which is tomorrow? I think the trade deadline is tomorrow. I think it's at 2:00. Not that the time really matters, but you've already seen some moves. James Harden was traded. There were a couple other trades that my mind isn't working well right now, but there are going to be some trades. Okay, and the Pelicans, I would be at this point shocked if they aren't involved. So, Sean asking the question: do I think the Pelicans will make any moves before the trade line? I just don't see how they can't. I don't see how they can't be involved in the trade deadline. Who's going to be a part of it? I have no idea. I mean, we've all heard the rumors of who it could be. Is it going to be Herb? Is it going to be, Jordan Poole, who they just got? Is it DeJounte Murray, who hasn't? What did he play? 4 games and I don't even know how many games he played. Wasn't many. He hadn't played in a year and a half. I mean, who's going to be part of deals? I don't know. What are the Pelicans going to get back? I do know this. You're going into a season where you're second to last in the West. You have you would have had potential to get a top pick in the NBA draft. And here you are sitting at 13-39 and know you traded it away. And look, Derek Queen is a great player. No doubt about it. But what you traded, we've talked about this before. It's not who you traded for, which is great to get Derek Queen, who's turned out to be a great pick. But Derek Queen, that pick was worth way more than Derek Queen. And here you are with the Pelicans now. They've lost 2 in a row again. They're 13-39 again, 14th in the West. Half a game above the Sacramento Kings, who are in free fall right now. You think the Pelicans they're even a little bit worse. I think they're 12-39. And they play the Pelicans come home from their carnival respite, which is weird because they're playing at home on Lundi Gras. They play the Sacramento Kings on Monday back in the arena. Well, this is after they go to Milwaukee and go to Minnesota. So anyway, A-Town says, please trade Zion. I don't think it's going to happen. Not if they do trade Zion, I think it would be in the offseason. I don't think it would be now. My opinion. So we'll see what the Pelicans do. After I'm going to get to your question in a minute because I know Gabe wants to actually talk about that. But I want to talk Saints a little bit. And before we get to Gabe, and this morning, obviously I told you we were going to talk about Drew Brees and company. And is Drew Brees going to make the Hall of Fame in his first attempt? Is it going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer? I think it'd be kind of crazy if he doesn't, right? There are only 4 possible first ballot Hall of Famers in this class: Drew Brees, Larry Fitzgerald, Frank Gore, Jason Witten. I think you can scratch Gore and Witten off. I don't think they make the list. Drew Brees, I think, is almost a fait accompli. Larry Fitzgerald I would think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, right? To be eligible, modern era players must have played more than 5 seasons ago. So that is one of the requirements. There are also several other requirements as well. I'm not going to go through them all. But among those guys, we told you the 4, there's also, 5 potential second ballot Hall of Famers, including Eli Manning. Is Eli Manning going to make it? I don't think so. What about Luke Kuechly? He probably belongs in the Hall of Fame. Does he make it? No one with a 3rd year of eligibility. Jari Evans is in his 4th year of eligibility. Jeff Duncan wrote a piece, I think it was yesterday, about how, and basically saying why Jari Evans deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. He says the Saints' offenses during the Peyton Brees era were historic. I'm quoting from his column here. From 2006 to 16, the Saints averaged an NFL high 405 yards per game, 20 more than even the Tom Brady-led Patriots. They said, and again, I'm quoting from Jeff Duncan's column, they set 17 NFL records during Evans' tenure, including the single season yardage record, 7,474 yards in 2011, and the best third down conversion rate in league history at a whopping 56.7%. I believe Jari Evans belongs in the Hall of Fame. I'm biased. I get it. There's no question. I'm biased. But look, I think he belongs. Whether he gets in this time or not, we'll see. It's kind of a loaded class. Again, if you're looking at potential players who could possibly get in, I mean, Torrey Holt is 7 times had a chance to get in. I'm surprised Torrey Holt didn't get in. I don't have his numbers in front of me, but I would have Torrey Holt in. Adam Vinatieri also a candidate. Who else a candidate? Terrell Suggs. He may get in, but I think it's a little early for him. Frank Gore, again, probably will get in at some point, but not now. Luke Kuechly, again, in his second. I think he belongs. Does he get in? I don't know. So anyway, we'll see. Some other notes about Jari Evans and Jari Evans, who played 12 seasons in the NFL, 183 games, drafted in the 4th round from Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania College, Division II. All sorts of things that he can do. That made the Pro Bowl back when the Pro Bowl actually meant something. 6 consecutive times. And here's something you don't see very often. This goes to show that he belongs in the Hall of Fame, in my opinion. He was a 4 times in a row. He made the All-Pro first team. You know how hard that is to do? To make the All-Pro team 4 times in a row? So Jari Evans, in my opinion, belongs in there. But so does Larry Fitzgerald. I think Larry. If I had to vote, Larry Fitzgerald would be a first ballot Hall of Fame. He's going to be in there. You know, people don't like to vote first ballot crap. Don't get me started on that. But he has 1,432 career receptions. Some of them the greatest catches you'll ever see for 17,492 yards. Both are ranked second in NFL history behind only you know who. I mean, they don't say behind who, but I know who it's. I mean, there's only one receiver who is numbers-wise was better than Larry Fitzgerald, and that was, of course, the great Jerry Rice. So I think Larry Fitzgerald's a first ballot Hall of Famer. I mean, just saying. So if you got those two, probably only going to have 2 more, maybe 3 more. We'll see. But I think they both belong in there. That's my opinion. Ryan Ashe says Larry Fitz should be a no-doubter first ballot. I mean, really. I mean, if he's not a first ballot Hall of Famer besides Drew Brees, who is? I mean, that's kind of the definition of first ballot Hall of Famer, in my opinion. So the new members of the Hall of Fame will be announced on tomorrow afternoon, so we will know who they are. We'll probably talk about it with Zach a little bit on Friday when he comes on the show. I assume Zach's coming on. I didn't get a definitive answer from him, but I think he's coming on this Friday. Programming note, by the way, we only have 2 more shows out today before we end season 5. And we take a week and a half off. We take our annual Mardi Gras break, and we'll be back on Friday. Monday, this coming Monday is our last show of season 5. The season 6 premiere will be on Friday. February the 20th, I believe. All right, let's move on a little bit here, and I want to bring on my friend Gabe Henderson because it is Wednesdays with Gabe. Good morning, sir. I can still say it's morning.
It is morning.
You know?
It's very rare. Got about 5 minutes left of the morning.
Yeah, well, we'll see what we can do in 5 minutes to piss people off. All right. First off, I want to talk to you this morning. I'll let you talk about whatever you want in just a moment, but we haven't really got to the Super Bowl yet, and I'm going to bring up my topic of the day with you. And my question, the title slide and my question of the day on the Super Bowl, besides the poll question. By the way, the poll question, if anyone out there wants to answer still, you have a few more minutes to do so. What is the earliest Super Bowl that you remember watching? Not the earliest Super Bowl that, I was born in 1989 and the first Super Bowl was the San Francisco Super Bowl. No, I want to know the first Super Bowl you remember watching. Gabe says it's probably Pats and Panthers Nipplegate back in 2004, I believe. All right.
February
2005. Okay, so was it 2003 season? 2004? Okay. All right. But this question I ask of you today is, I believe when you look at it, obviously the defenses are going to play a key role. I think both defenses are fantastic in this game. Obviously, Seattle's defense has been key. They weren't fantastic against the Rams, but it'll be a little bit easier probably to stop New England. But the keys to me, either the number 1 or number 1B key is going to be the running back. So that's why I put Kenneth Walker and Travion Henderson on the title side today, because I think whoever has the better day could be on the winning team.
I think Travion Henderson was the wrong back to put there.
Well, I know Ramondre Stevenson looking at, but he only had 600 yards this year. So
he was injured for a lot of it.
Yeah. I actually debated between those two, but I think Henderson's going to play a bigger role. But either way, the running game itself, do you see that as being a key to victory?
Not really. Not the biggest keys.
Talk about it.
I mean, obviously the running game is going to be key to any game, but I think the keys to this game are the Patriots receivers and Seattle's offensive line for both of their offense. I think you've got a really tough matchup in the Seattle secondary, and you've seen guys like Kayshon Boutte out there and have good games. Stephon Diggs has been big, come up clutch with touchdowns. Which one of their receivers is going to step up? Could you see Hunter Henry making some big plays in the passing game? And then for Seattle, it's people have questioned Sam Darnold this whole time, and teams have struggled to run the ball against New England. So if that offensive line can keep Sam Darnold's pockets clean and they can get some push up front, I think they'll be able to have their way with New England.
Well, I think that's absolutely true in the sense of, I think that if Darnold doesn't have a clean pocket, which is what the one thing that the Patriots have been best at so far, have been making sure that the opposing quarterback has not had a clean pocket. And it's really been why they've been successful, in my opinion. So that's why we talk about whether defense is 1A and the running game is 1B. It very well could be what you're talking about. And if the offensive line, that goes hand in hand with, what you're talking about. And I think that if Darnold is pressured at all, look, I'm not going to give him grief because he is definitely overachieved. And once you get to this point, no matter what you do in the Super Bowl, you have clearly proven someone like me wrong who's been a doubter. However, I do think that if he gets pressure on him like that, like the Patriots have been putting pressure on, that he could have certainly have some issues.
Put it this way, Seattle's offensive line is the best that New England has faced in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And I also think Clint Kubiak is I don't want to say smartest offensive mind because the Patriots just played Sean Payton.
Right.
But when you combine the offensive mind with the weapons at his disposal, this is the best situation offensively to be able to adapt to what New England shows you, which is probably going to be a lot of blitzes.
I find it interesting. We talked about the line on Monday. This line has not budged in like 6 days. And even then, it's like only slightly. It not only is it the same 4.5, and then you can find it at 5 at some places if you want to bet on New England, but it is 4.5 juice towards Seattle, but the same number. It's minus 115, minus 4.5. The over-under hasn't changed since like the second day the line came out. It started out at 46.5 and it dropped to 45.5, and it's pretty much stayed there. So it goes to show you that even though Seattle is getting, I think everywhere we look, Seattle's getting most of the money and the tickets. The odds makers are reluctant to change this too much. I think they kind of like whatever their inflow they're getting, they're okay with it.
5 points is a lot for a Super Bowl.
It really is. It really is.
Which is why,
especially as of late, when you're talking about, we've had a lot of good Super Bowls over the past 15 years. We had some stinkers for a long time, but over the past 15, 20 years, I think we've had a lot of good ones too. So that is an interesting number.
And let's not discount the experience on New England's side. I think that matters. I think I saw a clip the other day. This is Josh McDaniels' 10th Super Bowl appearance.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's insane.
I think, which is just unbelievable.
Yeah, it really is. By the way, Charles, you're asking who Harden got traded for. He got traded to Cleveland for Darius Garland. And by the way, here goes to show a thing, and we talk about this all the time. He said he didn't want to be traded. No one gives a rat's ass what they want, Charles, and everyone else. I mean, just saying, it doesn't matter whether a player wants to get traded or doesn't. That does not factor into anything hardly ever. Let's just say
James Harden's word is about as useful. I'm
it's
not
not just
going to
James
go there.
Harden though. It's not just
No, but
James Harden. Though.
James Harden's the worst of the bunch.
Yeah,
He's
well,
bad. He's
just
really
saying.
bad when it comes to demanding.
If a player says they don't want to be traded, it doesn't make one iota of difference. As long as if they don't have a trade clause in their contract, it doesn't matter whether they want to get traded or not. Sean says the difference in this game will come down to special teams performance. If that's true, then that's a nod to Rashid Shaheed, and I'm sure Saints fans are thinking that. I mean, special teams are always important. They're always important, but I don't know that it's going to play a big role.
I don't think you can look at a 4.5 point spread and say special teams will be the difference.
I will say this though: if it comes down to kicker, my money's on Myers because he has been a good kicker in this league for a long time.
They're both really good.
All right, I want to move on again. I know you probably want to talk about this, so I'm actually going to put this up here, but this will lead into some college football talk, and there is definitely something that comes up. Somebody brought it up earlier. I think it was apathy. I'll go look for the comment in just a minute. But before we get to that, find it interesting. LSU got yet another commitment via the portal, another transfer portal, offensive lineman, their 10th offensive lineman, Adrian Lamb, who's coming over from Georgia Military College. So he was a redshirt freshman last year, so he'll be obviously a redshirt sophomore. Gives him 2 more years of eligibility. He had offers from Alabama, South Carolina, Auburn, and decided to come to LSU. This class is, I mean, you go from having no offensive lineman to the O lineman that they've got in this transfer portal. I for certain it's going to be better than the O line they played with last year.
I'd be very concerned if it wasn't.
I mean, wouldn't you? I mean, it's pretty bad last year.
I saw a clip of some A&M pass rushers this morning. Some Twitter analyst was analyzing their tape. Man, they were bad against A&M.
Yeah, they were really. I mean, that's the game that sealed the deal for Brian Kelly, right? By the way, my friend Barry Barnesfather says 85 Bears Pats. I know for sure that was Super Bowl 20. That was here in New Orleans. I remember that season very well, and I especially remember that postseason where the Bears just absolutely destroyed people. Brian wants to know the over-under is 45.5. He's thinking defensive battle. So 23-17 is his prediction. We'll get to predictions on Friday, but I whenever I get a chance to call out Colin Cowherd, I do. UBN send a thing. He says Colin Cowherd talking about one of his best bets of the week is the under 45.5, and then proceeded to give a predicted score that was over the 45.5 because maybe he should be our dumbass of the week. I don't know, but
I feel like he should not be eligible for that award.
Why?
If we start giving it to talk show host Jim, they would get it every day.
Maybe some people say I should get the dumbass of the week award. But back to LSU before we move on to college football in general, and one thing in particular. This class is just, we've talked about it a bunch of times here, but to have 10 offensive linemen, to have 9 wide receivers transfer, to have 3 new quarterbacks. I mean, and again, this is probably a good thing considering what happened last year, but besides the sideline and the new coaches, this is going to be a completely new team.
It's the era of college football that we're in now. And we've
Speaking
got
the
Portal King as our head coach.
Portal King, as we had last Wednesday on the show. All right. Apathy said earlier, I went back and found the comment. And I know we talked about this yesterday a little bit in our group text. Dumbasses of the week are people responsible for college football calendar for the next 2 years. How do you look at this past year and say, let's make that worse? First off, what apathy is referring to, before I know you have something to say on it, is the dates of when college football is going to end, and it ends 6 days later than this past year. Now, it comes with a caveat. It's just the way that the calendar worked out. They didn't push it back a week. If you look at any calendar, it goes in a cycle, and when you hit a certain date, let's just say the college football national championship is what, the 3rd Monday of the month or whatever it is, whatever day of the week that may be. It's like Thanksgiving is the 3rd or 4th Thursday and Thanksgiving. So at some point when you get to that point in the week, it just shoves it back and it looks like it's a week later. And that is the case here. So it's not really moving the calendar back. It's
no.
They did calendar.
They did a little bit. I think there's an extra like half a week between quarterfinal games or something like that. There was a little caveat. I don't remember what it was.
They're still playing on the 31st and 1st. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure.
I believe I saw someone say there were no games.
I know that the Sugar Bowl in 2 years is on December 31st.
I believe I saw someone say there were no New Year's games, but I could be wrong. I didn't look at it that extensively.
If there's no New Year's games, it means that that New Year's on a Sunday, which is a possibility.
Maybe. But my problem is the fact that they are now going to be playing football until January 25th.
New Year's Day is on a Friday next year. That's why. I don't know. Anyway, keep going. Go ahead.
My problem is that they're playing until January 25th. And the solution is relatively easy. Josh Pate of On3 has come up with the solution for all of this. And they've just completely brushed it to the side.
Mm-hmm.
His solution, for those who don't know, would be to have everyone play in week 0, as opposed to just like 6 games that no one gives a shit about.
Which they're not doing, by the way.
They're not doing. And make the title game on New Year's. There's a way that they can make the calendar work. You can do that. I believe it was also conference championships on Army-Navy Day, which is fine. Army-Navy has to have its own slot, but other than that, I believe you could make it work. And have the championship game on December 31st before the portal opens on January 1st. I think that is so key because in UBN mentioned this yesterday, and I'm not pretending to give a shit about academics when it comes to collegiate athletics anymore. They are hardly student athletes,
right? Of course,
in terms of football,
right?
Let's call it for what it is. But you still need to be enrolled in the school by a certain date to be administered those courses.
Mm-hmm.
And as it stands right now, if you're a playoff team, that's just not possible.
By the way,
so it creates a whole mess.
The quarterfinals games are going to be on December 30th, 2026. Along all the other ones will be, this is the quarterfinals. Okay, the first round games are going to be Friday, December 18th, and Saturday, December 19th of 2026, which I believe is the same as last year. And then the quarterfinals games will be on December 30th, 31st, and January the 1st. And then the semifinals, there is an extra week. There's 2 weeks before the semifinals and 1 week before the national championship game. Orange Bowl and Sugar Bowl on the 14th and 15th, respectively. And national championship is on January 21st. You ask why, and the answer is, and look, I don't hate it, first of all. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me.
It's just going to create a bigger mess. That's why I care.
Well, maybe it does, but you ask why, and you know the answer why. The answer why is
why do you have an extra week?
Because of money.
How does 2 weeks between a quarterfinal and a semifinal
because
make you more
the
money?
Talking heads can talk about it. It's the same reason why there's an extra week before.
So why don't we play the season from January to December if it's all about money? I just don't understand that. It doesn't make sense because now what you're going to do is you are going to have players, anyone who plays on the 2 semifinal, who plays in the semifinals or the final, you are going to have to enter the transfer portal when you are in coaches too.
Uh-huh.
You are going to have to take new jobs if you're looking to go elsewhere while you're in the semifinals or the final, which is just ridiculous. If you look at guys like Bo Prabula, even last year, now 2 seasons ago at Penn State, he was their backup quarterback. He had to enter the portal in the midst of the team's playoff run because he wanted to transfer.
I don't know how you change it though, Gabe. You can't make the national championship game. It'd be stupid to have it on like the 8th. I mean, which is the only way you're going to
have
avoid
it on
it.
December 31st. You kick everything in the season up.
No.
Why? Why don't you start it a week early?
Because then you got to start the season in like the beginning of August. You can't squeeze all that.
No, you don't. Someone has outlined it. Someone has created an
Someone has good for them. They're not smarter than everybody else. Okay, they're not smarter than a fifth grader. You don't have everybody play in week 0. I'm sorry. You're also changing it to where you only have one bye week.
That's not how. No, that's not how they did it. They still had 2 bye weeks.
You can't do it. You can't. It can't be done. I'm telling you.
Can be done. Someone has outlined
because then you're going to.
it.
Here's the thing. If you do that, I'm telling you now, okay? First of all, they're never going to do it. This is a moot point. We're arguing something that's never.
Should. It's so stupid.
You can say should all you want. It's never going to happen. If anything, it's going to go further. It's not going to.
Then I don't.
Once you go that way, it never comes. It never comes back the other way.
I don't want to hear someone from the administration. I don't want to hear any coaches. I don't want to hear any players or any fans continue to bitch about how, this coach is leaving in the playoff. This player is leaving in the playoff. Because it doesn't matter.
Most of the coaches and fans are probably on your side. You're arguing about something the NCAA and TVs, they don't give a shit about that stuff. You're talking about stuff they don't care about. They
absolutely should, because it creates huge problems.
They don't care if it creates huge problems. If they care about the almighty dollar, that's what they care about, the almighty dollar.
Money if you make the season a week earlier. You still make lots and lots of money. The NCAA is going to pack seats anyway.
The season as it is now isn't really that much long. We've talked about this. It's only like two weeks longer than college basketball and college baseball in the grand scheme of things. It's not that much longer. It's just
those don't interfere with the academic calendar. That's the thing.
Well, here's my thing. If you want to change it to the way you want to play the national championship game on whatever day you want to play it on, then you have to go the other way and you have to move it up. And they're never going to start a college football season. And they're not going to take weeks out of a season. Okay. So they're just not going to do it. You're going to make less money. They are taking weeks out of the season. If you move, no, hold on. If you move the season to New Year's Eve, you're taking 3 weeks out of talking about college football. There's no way around it.
Okay, let's do it. I will eliminate those 2 weeks for you right now. Okay.
Exactly. Hold on. You just proved my point. I don't care how you do it. You're still eliminating weeks. They are never going to eliminate weeks
of games, Jim. You are eliminating the time between the conference championships.
Right.
And
you're still eliminating weeks. That's 3 less weeks that ESPN's not talking about college football.
They're still going to be talking about college football. Why do they need to sit here and have a 2-week break between the quarterfinals and the semifinals? There's no reason for that. Why do we have an extended break between the conference championships and the start of the playoff? There's no reason for that. Why do teams play in week 0?
There's no reason for you.
South Dakota State against North Carolina Tech A&M.
There's no reason for you. You don't.
Games week 0.
If you were a network executive, you would never say what you're saying right now.
I wholeheartedly disagree with that.
I wholeheartedly 100% know that if you were a network TV executive, you would never ever push for this. 100%. 100%. You would.
Week 0 games. Do you get the conversation started earlier? More meaningful games, which means more viewers earlier.
But you're comparing viewers in August for week 0 to viewers for college football playoff game. By the way, here's another thing. Here's another thing that's going to happen with your theory. It's eventually going to be pushed into February. I'm telling you right now. The college football season is probably going to end in the first week of February before too long, because the NFL season already, the Super Bowl is going to be on Valentine's. I'm just telling you what's going to happen. I'm not even telling you.
The Super Bowl does not affect.
No, I'm just right. But I'm telling you, once one goes further, so the other one goes further. They follow suit with one another. They use each other's schedule to bounce off of one another. You can like it. You can hate it. It doesn't make a difference what you think. It doesn't make a difference what I think. It doesn't make a difference what A-Town thinks. It doesn't make a difference what anybody thinks. I'm telling you what's going to happen. You need to prepare yourself mentally.
This leads to absolute lawlessness in the college game, and that's how we get G League players playing basketball collegiately. They absolutely care about that.
They don't care.
They've sued schools and players over this.
They care about money. The networks don't care, and the networks are the ones really running football.
Fuck the networks.
You could say whatever you want. They don't care.
The networks don't decide who plays in these games.
Yes, they do. They're the ones with the money. The ones with the money decide everything.
The networks didn't make Joe Burrow transfer to LSU. That's the most absurd conspiracy theory I've ever heard.
Not a conspiracy theory. I'm just telling you the way that life works. Life works by the almighty dollar.
Where and who goes to college where?
Gabe, you're getting yourself worked up for something it's not going to matter what you think.
It makes no sense to say that.
You could say it doesn't make sense. It's not going to change. It's going to get worse before it gets better. College football within the next 5 years, it's not even a bold prediction. It's going to happen. Within the next 5 years, college football will end its season in February. Within the next maybe less than 5 years.
They will lose
because they're going to
money and a lot.
They ain't going to lose jack shit. They ain't going to lose a single dollar. They're going to gain money. They don't do it. These dudes, look, are way smarter than you or I. And if they thought they were going to lose money, they wouldn't do it.
No, they're not. You're giving these suits way too much credit.
Okay.
Here's what's going to happen. You are going to have the people who are making you money, the Lane Kiffins of the world, the Sam Levitts of the world. These people are going to have a big problem with how the calendar is currently constructed. We've seen so many coaches already talk about it. They are going to raise a stink about it, and that is going to cause change. Who cares? The people who make you money.
You want to bet it doesn't change? I'll bet you whatever you want, and you can literally name the dollar amount that it's not. It's certainly not going to go backwards.
You're saying that we're not going to have a lockout in the MLB next season.
I'm not talking about Major League Baseball. I'm talking about college football. We're 100% going to have a lockout in Major League Baseball.
People who are making you money,
they don't lock out in college football. They don't care. You're losing. You're missing the point. They have no leverage whatsoever.
If they didn't care, then we wouldn't have a damn lockout in baseball next year.
I don't know how to explain it to you any differently.
You're 100% are unhappy.
You're wasting your emotions. You're wasting your emotions.
I'm trying to explain. When people who are unhappy that are making you money, things have to change.
No, they don't. They don't have to change.
Then enjoy baseball next season. Enjoy your 2027 MLB season.
You're once again comparing apples to elephant nuts.
No, I'm not, because they're both
yes, you are. They don't have anything to do with one another.
They are professional athletes who are unhappy with the governing bodies.
Okay, well, there's no union in college football. Okay, so there's no
I wouldn't be
union
surprised
in
if
college
that changes as well.
Might, but that's not changing anytime soon. Now, again, college football is going to expand once they get the playoffs are going to expand to a bare minimum of 16 in the very near future, and that's going to change the way they play this crap. And I'm telling you right now, it's not going to. It doesn't. I know it doesn't add an extra week, but I'm telling you, they are going to change the way this is done. And I'm telling you, within the next 5 years, it's going to happen. College football will be played in February.
If that happens,
A10, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think they're going to add any games. I think it'll still be a 12 games regular season. I don't think that'll happen. It wouldn't shock me if they did add a game, though.
If the college football season, you could be right, it could extend into February. If that happens, there are going to be serious changes to the portal and or how late athletes can enroll in courses.
Maybe
because right now it just doesn't.
That's possible.
It doesn't work.
That's certainly possible. I've been screaming that they need to change the date of when the portal's open.
Shit, we're talking about the headline right here. A 10th O lineman transfers to LSU. It's February 4th. What are we doing?
You think that's not going to change it? I mean, I don't see that change anytime soon. It's going to be a whole different. It's like college basketball. I mean, college basketball is almost a different team every year. Thank God for LSU because they suck. So maybe next year they'll have a new coach and a new team.
With college basketball, students just enroll in the fall, like everyone else.
I mean, Ryan wants your idea. You don't say, well, let's start all games in week 0. Because then you wouldn't call it week 0 anymore. Because then you know what you would do? Here's what happens if you change everything to week 0, by the way. Then week 0 becomes week 1. And then they actually have a week 0 again. And they're going to do what they do now. They'll just move that to a week before. That's what they would do.
I don't really care because no one meaningful plays that week.
Okay. No, I'm just saying that's what they would do. I'm okay with if they want to start the season August 31st or whatever it is.
A week earlier.
They can. I don't care if they started a week earlier. They're still not going to go back on the back end. The back end is not going backwards. It's not happening. They won't do it. Just telling you.
I disagree. I think they need to.
I know you do, obviously.
I think they simply have to. Yeah.
It's a moot point. I'm telling you, a moot point. They need to eliminate those empty weeks in December. They're not going to. Here's the only way to me that they would ever even consider doing it, and I don't think they would ever consider doing this because of what we talked about money. If I had my way personally, I'd get rid of stupid bowl games. I'm sorry. I don't need to see Western Michigan play Akron in the Tostitos, Cheetos.
Bowl games.
I know they're not going to, but that's what I would do. Exactly. Money. That's why they're not going to do it. Nobody gives a rat's ass about these bowl games, but they're not going to get rid of them because of money, which means they're not going to push stuff back either because of money. So you can't eliminate dead weeks in December.
I don't understand where does the money come from, though, in having a 2-week break between quarterfinals and semifinals?
I'm telling you where it comes from. The hype and the talk over and over and over again, and everyone hyping up that game and free advertisement across the entire planet. That's where it comes from. It's the same reason, again, why the Super Bowl is played 2 weeks after the championship game. Do you really need an extra week? No. Saying.
Who's cutting our checks for talking to LSU since people are getting paid to talk about it?
Who's cutting our checks?
Yeah. Who's I mean, how you're saying the media hype. You're saying the media hype drives money, so who's cutting our checks? LSU.
No one, but we're stupid enough to go along with it. We just keep talking about it for free. We give them the free pub. People think that
who gets paid to talk about it? That's why where does that money come from?
The money comes from the advertisers who sponsor these shows. You think a commercial? Hold on. Do you think a commercial in April costs the same amount as a commercial in early January?
It depends on. I mean,
that doesn't depend on jack shit. You think a commercial on ESPN on a random Wednesday in April is the same amount, costs the same amount as a random Wednesday in early January? I'll you don't have to think about it. I'll give you the answer. The answer is absolutely not. It absolutely doesn't cost the same Madness. Huh?
April, you're in the back end of March Madness, so potentially.
April, you're not in the back end of March Madness. I said the random middle of April. No, it's not middle of March Madness. March Madness is over the first Monday in April. It's over. Basketball's over. I
don't believe it is.
100% the first Monday in April every single year. Go ahead, look it up. Go ahead. I'll sit here and wait.
I don't believe it's the first Monday.
I know you don't believe it, but you're wrong. Go ahead.
Second Monday this year.
No,
by the way.
Okay.
Last year. Do what?
That's never happens. That's the first
second Monday.
They're going to extend it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I said mid-April anyway. So 100%. Okay. A random mid-April Wednesday commercial on ESPN does not cost the same as a random early January Wednesday. I promise you it doesn't cost the same. 100%. 120%. Whatever percent you want to use. It ain't the same.
Probably not much of a difference.
You're insane.
I majored in this.
Difference. I don't give a shit what you majored in. You obviously didn't major in advertising.
Yes, I did. My diploma's right over there.
It's
digital advertising.
Then it's no surprise then you're sitting here with me because that's no fucking way on planet Earth that you think that a commercial in early January on Wednesday costs the same at ESPN than you think the Super Bowl commercials, how much do they cost?
They start at $1 million.
How much does a commercial cost for everyday Joe Blow NFL game in week 4? It ain't $1 million.
No, it's not $1 million.
Well, that's my point. The longer you can make this go off, the more they obviously cost more.
But here's my point though. If you were asking right before the college football playoff or before the championship game, yeah, commercials would cost more. But if you're talking the Wednesday in the first week between the quarterfinal and the semifinal,
okay, any Wednesday you want from April 10th until August 10th. Any single Wednesday you want. Masters Wednesday. They don't make that much more for the Masters. Nobody gives a damn. Sorry, UBN. In the grand scheme of things, people don't really care that much. May. What do you got in May? I don't know. Kentucky Derby. You think that costs as much as a random Wednesday in early to mid-January? No. Let's see. What else you got going on? June. Nothing. College World Series? Yeah, that doesn't cost anything. That's
here's
the
what I'm
point.
saying. It's not dependent on. It's dependent on TV ratings, and I don't think there's a huge spike in viewership between the Wednesday in the first week between the quarterfinal and the semifinal as there is in April. I don't know.
You don't think more people watch
not
Around the Horn? What is the show in the morning on ESPN? You don't think more people watch whatever it Get Up, any one of those shows, Stephen A. show, whatever it's called? You don't think more people watched that show on January the 8th than they watch it on May the 24th? You're insane if you think the ratings aren't any different.
I don't think there's a huge difference.
Okay,
if we're talking, like I just said, the scenario that I just laid out, if it is the middle of the week in the first week between the quarterfinal and the semifinal, I don't think many people are going to be watching that compared to.
You're just trying to get anything you can to get your point across. That's not going to change. It's not changing. I don't know why you could possibly think it's ever going to change.
Watch these shows.
Why do you think they've extended the season again?
Because you laid it out earlier. Because the Monday calendar.
No, but you're talking about something there. You're just talking about. You said no to that. You say I'm wrong. You said no one cares.
I never said you were wrong for that.
Well, I don't understand what your point is. Then what the hell is your point?
There's not. So you are saying that the extended week of buildup brings in a lot more money.
There's no question
which
in my mind.
I completely disagree with.
Then why else would they do it? And why would they do it?
I mean,
what's your reason? What's your reason for why they would do it?
You laid it out earlier.
Not mine. What's your reason why they would do it?
Because you said it earlier. The Monday, the way that the calendar falls, the Monday is a few days later. I don't know. I mean, obviously it's going to be about money, but I don't think it's money in terms of
where would that money come from? Okay, you agree with me. You agree with me that it's about money. Where does that money come from then? Why would money?
I don't know. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Because
maybe what is the only thing that makes sense?
Advertising on Get Up in the midweek of the first week of two between the quarter and the semifinals.
That's just one little minuscule reason.
How few
that's one little minuscule reason. The more buildup and hype you add to something, the more people are going to watch all the way leading up. It's not just Get Up or whatever it is.
I don't think more people are watching Get Up. Okay, and let's be honest with ourselves. If you tune in to First Take on a random Wednesday in the 2 weeks,
which I don't, by the way,
and the semis, what are they going to be talking about, Jim? The Dallas Cowboys and LeBron James. They're not going to be talking college football.
But they won't be talking about college football. Of course, they will be talking about college football. It may not be the lead of the show.
It'll be
They're going to talk about whatever's on ESPN, and whatever's been on ESPN has been college football. Go back to a Get Up from, I don't know,
Jim,
the week before the college football. I guarantee you they were talking about it.
This is a great example of this. Last week, we were in one of the 2 weeks before the Super Bowl. What was the lead topic on First Take 2 weeks before the Super Bowl?
Probably NBA, because they had NBA on that night.
No, it was should the Cleveland Browns call Deion Sanders. That was the lead topic 2 weeks before the Super Bowl.
Okay, what was the lead topic the next day?
I have no idea.
Know.
I don't watch that.
Well, neither do I. But my point is, they're going to talk about whatever's on their network. That happens to be on their network.
Why would they be talking about Deion Sanders and the Browns?
Because that's on their net. It was the Pro Bowl. What was it on? I mean, it wasn't announced to the Pro Bowl yet.
No idea what the Pro Bowl is on.
I can tell you right now. They're going to talk about football every day and Christmas until every day, not even after it's over. Yeah, they'll talk about it after it's over too.
Drives numbers in that terms.
I'm telling you what drives numbers.
You're overestimating how many people watch these shows.
Okay, well, I'm just going to say this, and then we're going to move on from this because this is going on long enough. Viewership would be greater without empty weeks. Sean H. The buildup is a snooze fest. For you, it's a snooze fest. Okay,
for most people,
it's not for most people. They wouldn't do it if it wasn't making more money for everything across the board.
My point here is, yes, it's about money. I do not think that is where the money comes from. I really don't. I don't have the number. We don't have access to these numbers.
Right. We don't have access to the numbers.
Viewership of
we actually probably
ESPN
do have access to the numbers. We probably could find it if we go dig hard enough, and maybe one of us can do that if we want to.
We will never find what an advertisement costs because we don't.
I don't think. I think that's actually probably not that hard to do. Is my guess. If we do enough, if it probably isn't that hard, is my guess.
I mean,
but regardless, they're not doing it. They're not doing it just to do it. They don't do it just because they wake up one morning and say, you know what, we're going to push this schedule back to January to the 25th, and we're never going to go back to January the 1st. They're never going to.
Here's the thing. Do those advertisement costs really offset the money that they have to pay in advertising the game for longer?
What are you talking about?
ESPN has to pay every time they put on a college football playoff advertisement.
Yeah, and they pay the same thing. They put on their advertisement on their own channel. It's house ads. No, they don't.
But you have to pay for it.
Pay for house ads.
Yes, you do. Legally,
the newspaper never once ever paid for a house ad. I can promise you. In the 35 years I worked in a newspaper,
television.
Who gives a shit? I mean, you're not paying for a house ad.
I'm telling you, legally, you have to pay for in-house ads.
Tax? You're paying tax on a house ad?
Yes.
Okay, so it's minuscule. It's literally hardly anything. And guess what?
You still have to pay for that slot.
Right. And you know what? You have to pay for that slot regardless of when it is, because you have to have a certain amount of house ads. It's the same amount of house ads, whether it doesn't make a difference.
Because
they would rather have their own house ad on college football championships than they would on we're showing the Hawaiian Open this weekend. Of course. Who gives a shit? It's the same amount of tax.
Pay more because you have.
They're not going to have to pay more. It's the same tax, whatever you're paying.
You advertise for longer.
You don't. It's the same amount of house ads. You pay the same amount of tax, no matter what it is.
You add another week between games.
Gabe, you're wrong. Okay, you're wrong.
I'm not. Jim, this is what I made.
I don't care what you did.
I know
you're
what
wrong
I'm talking about here.
No, you don't. You 100% don't know what you're talking about.
Do you think Facebook doesn't have to pay for Instagram ads and vice versa because they're owned by the same person? They have to pay for the
taxes that they make off of those ads.
They have to pay for the ads. Legally, you have to pay for the ads.
Right, and they pay for the same amount for an ad no matter what it is. Whatever it is, they pay the same amount for an ad. It doesn't make a difference about college football or a lost pet.
Yes, but my point is you're adding another week of advertising that.
I don't think you're getting what I'm talking about.
Offset.
I think you're not getting what I'm talking about. Okay, here's the simplest way that I can put this. I'm going to completely make up a number here, but ESPN, let's say ESPN has 10,000 ESPN ads they show on their network on any given time, and they have, let's say 12,000 would be easier, and they have 1,000 a month. They're going to have 1,000 a month every month. They're going to have 1,000 in January. They're going to have 1,000 in February. They're going to have 1,000 in May. They're going to have 1,000 in September, and they're going to have 1,000 in December. Okay? They're going to pay the same amount for those 1,000 ads in January as they're going to pay for those 1,000 ads in June because they're basically paying the tax on whatever ads those are.
You are paying for the ad slot.
Right. So, but my point is, they're paying for the ad slot.
Someone else pays for it.
They're paying it to themselves, and then they have to pay taxes on that. Mm-hmm. They have to pay. That's where the money. That's what you're talking about. The money has to come.
You still have to pay for the ad slot as well as
right. And then basically the money they're paying is the tax to local tax.
Let's say it's $100. Let's say it's $100 for that ad slot. Correct.
Let's just make up. I don't care what it is. Whatever it is.
Make up a number. When I don't know, Walmart pays for the $100 ad to ESPN.
Right.
Right.
They make the $100 plus.
$100.
Right. Right. And ESPN also gets $100 when they pay themselves $100. But they have to pay tax.
They also lose $100.
They don't lose $100. They lose the taxes on $100.
Yeah, but you're still losing money.
Let's move on because I don't think you're seeing where I'm going. I don't understand your point. We're wasting time here. The shows are way longer than it's supposed to be.
In-house advertising.
This was literally 30 minutes of my life I can never, ever, ever get back. It's a worthless waste of time because they're, like I said, regardless of what you want, think, how, should, whatever, they're never, ever going back. The national championship game will never, ever be played before January 1st, ever again. Never, ever in our lifetimes, ever be played before like January the 15th or 21st or whatever it is, ever again. Once you go to this place, you don't ever go back. It's why college basketball, whenever they went to, you go back in the history of time. If you go back to the NFL played their championship game in December in the 50s and into the 60s. Then it slowly creeped into January, and the Super Bowl was played on like January 12th back in the day. And then it creeped up to January 16th and 18th and 22nd. And now next year, the Super Bowl will be played on Valentine's Day. Do we ever think that the NFL, and I don't give a shit, it's not different. College football isn't any different. College basketball didn't change. The World Series in college, the College World Series is being played in the second week of June.
Difference with college football.
I don't care. You could talk about portal, whatever. People don't like it. I don't care. Once a group of a sports organization, whatever it is, goes a certain way, it never goes back the other way. It's like the NBA now starting the season in the middle of October or the second to last week, and whatever they start. It used to be in early November. That's never going to change. The end of NBA season is never going to change. It's the same for college football. We are wasting our breath. Change. No, it won't. It won't change. And you're wasting your breath. And 10 years from now, if I still have the show and you still want to come on, or maybe we can revisit this and have fun and play this clip back. And 10 years from now, I can tell you that I told you that it was never going to change.
I'm not saying they're going to go backwards per se.
Although I'm not going to be doing the show 10 years from now.
I'm just saying between the calendar, the academic enrollment period, and the portal, one of those three things, those will change. Something has to change because this is not sustainable.
The portal date may change. That may change.
One of those three things will change. The calendar is the unlikeliest. I agree.
It's not the unlikeliest. It ain't happening.
Something has to change.
Wouldn't surprise me. I don't know how you change the portal because then you start.
I don't know how you fix any of this.
The coaching decisions and all that. I don't know how you change that either because you're talking about coaches. Then it just leaks out and then they go to wherever they want to go anyway. Mm-hmm. So I don't know how you make that any better. But regardless, even if you would still have the same Lane Kiffin situation if Brian Kelly was fired in November and the championship date was on January the 1st, you still would have had the same thing. It just would have been crunched up in a smaller amount of time, and Lane Kiffin would have got hired in, I don't know, Thanksgiving rather than hired. Yeah, I mean, they're not going to wait. LSU.
No.
They're not going to get. Somebody's going to want to jump out and get them.
Verge Osbury said that they were willing to wait. The big rush
with
a lot of these coaches is the portal. So yeah. I mean, I don't know if you move the portal to after the championship game, but then you mess with academic enrollment. I just
no matter
don't
what
know.
you do, you're going to mess with something. Yes. No matter how you change it, it's going to mess with something. It's just unless you change the college football season. Like I said, the only thing I could see happening that would even entertain your idea is if you moved the season back and started it like 2 weeks earlier. I don't care about what you could do. That ain't happening. Somebody proved it. Joe Schmo on X with 200 followers proved that it can be done. I don't care about what he proved or whatever. It doesn't make a difference. I'm just telling you what is logistically feasible. And what's logistically feasible is once you go forward or backward, if you go backward, you don't go back forward. If you go forward, you don't go backward. What I mean is if you start a season on August 31st, you don't suddenly start a season on September 7th after that. You go the other way. And if you end the season on January 20th, you don't suddenly, now calendar will change or whatever, but I'm talking about where you get in the week. It's just not going to change. We can sit here forever. We can talk about this tomorrow.
They can realistically push the season up one week.
No, not what they can do. They could do whatever they want. They're not going to. They can do whatever they want. They're not going to.
They might push the season up 1 week because
maybe, but it won't change when it ends.
Campus. Let's call it for what it is. I mean, we've debated for 30 minutes.
I started it when I went to LSU. I started August 1st.
The one thing we agree on is money. This is about money.
Everything
and
is.
How do you get money? Put asses in seats. Students get on campus for most campuses in late August, anywhere from like the 21st to the 28th, somewhere in there, depending on the year. So you could realistically have the season start that first Saturday of classes, but they wouldn't do it any earlier because then you wouldn't have asses.
I don't deny that's first of all, they would still have asses and seats because it's small.
Yeah,
it's a small. The student sections are getting small and small, which is a whole different story, which is bullshit, by the way. But
some of them there's a lot of schools that now charge for student sections. So
no, they shouldn't. I know they do. It's a lot different than when I was going to LSU, when you were just standing in line and they had 5,000 student seats or whatever. And if you were one of the first 5,000, you got a free ticket to the game, and they don't do that anymore, which is ridiculous. They do the same thing in high school now. So anyway, I'm telling you, we're going to come back. Even if I quit this show, maybe we'll just have a show 10 years from now and say, oh, look, the college football championship game's on Valentine's Day and the Super Bowl's on St. Patrick's Day. I mean, if I'm still alive by then, who knows? Keep having arguments with like this with you, I won't be. But we'll talk about it more.
I'll ask you. We'll wrap up this segment. How many potential daddies did we get from that 40-minute?
I don't know, but I definitely got to mark that one down because daddy dumbass argument of the year. You're gonna win dumbass of the year. You keep talking like that.
Hey, I'll win. I'll win the get your mouth washed out with soap.
It's not as much. Once you do it once, though, it's kind of all. It doesn't the same ring. I don't even mind that one.
Yeah,
not the same. All right. See you for your Pick'em Friday. I can't wait to see what you pick. Maybe we're gonna have an argument. We'll have UBN the donkey.
We won't have an argument. We'll have our fun game time. I'm very excited for this game.
You and like one other person.
No, I bet people have fun with it.
I thought you said you weren't. You're excited now about the game, or you just
no, not the Super Bowl, not the Super Bowl.
Oh, okay.
Whatever. I haven't even thought about my picks.
That's what I thought.
No,
you're excited about the Super Bowl halftime game that we're gonna play. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, I think I might do a little better than UBN, maybe. But I think we're both gonna suck.
I think you guys will do all right. It's not as hard as you'd think.
It's gonna be pretty hard. Considering I don't know jack squat.
Yeah, but you have a 33% chance at absolute worst of getting it right.
You have a point. All right. See you Friday.
All righty. Sounds good.
All right. A few things before we go here. A couple A-Town. This portion of the show called The Great Debate, sponsored by World's Finest Chocolate. Hey, A-Town, you want to buy some World's Finest Chocolate? My daughter's got a whole box of them in there. Don't get me started on World's Finest Chocolate. It costs twice as much as it cost when my son was going to school, and it's about half the size. Don't get me started on that. Yeah, it's all about money. 0.0. It's going back. Yeah, absolutely. All y'all. I'm glad. The only people that enjoyed this, by the way, were the regulars. I definitely did not get any new members from that inane debate that we just had. I don't say that. I guess you never know. Here's a perfect time after that debate to ask you. You want more of this? You want to support the channel? You want to give us some money? Go ahead. I mean, hell, if you don't want to be a member of the Datitude podcast now, you're never going to want to be a member. You're never going to want to be a member. Because you know what else? We tell you some cool things like we know that telling you more about Evangeline Securities can help you, you know what it's going to do. Can help you figure out what your family run a privately held business might be worth. I don't have to argue about this. Gabe and I definitely agree on this. We could tell you what that business might be worth and whether it's time to sell. How do they do it? That's certainly better than the stupid ass questions we were just asking ourselves for the last half hour. After their complimentary evaluation of your company, if you decide to proceed, Native New Orleans and Nick Braden and the folks at Evangeline, they'll begin an extensive auction process for among established private equity funds from around the whole wide world. That's right, whole wide world. They'll maximize the return for the founder and his or her family. Evangeline is the top producer on their platform. Very few companies like them in this area. 0.0 with their dedication and success. They are fully licensed. They are ready to serve you. So get in touch with Nick about what's really important. It's not about the college football calendar, boys and girls. It's not about what game's going to be played on St. Patrick's Day coming up in the near future. Nope. What's really important? The rest of your life. You can find them at www.evangelinsecurities.com. You got 30 seconds, buddy.
I have 30 seconds of breaking news that New Orleans fans will absolutely love. Anthony Davis has been banished to Washington, D.C.
Oh, you got to be
kidding. Traded to the Wizards.
That is awesome. For what, a box of rocks?
The full trade details, according to Shams, the Dallas Mavericks are trading Anthony Davis, Jaden Hardy, D'Angelo Russell, and Dante Exum to the Wizards for Chris Middleton, A.J. Johnson, Malachi Branham, Marvin Bagley III, 2 first-round picks, and 3 second-round picks.
Wow. Okay.
So anyone who roots for the downfall of Anthony Davis, which I know is a majority of New Orleans, can rejoice this morning.
No question. All right. Well, that's some good news for you. All right. Thank you, Gabe Henderson. Let's see here before we go. One of the last comments. I don't know if this is the last, but it might be. Because that says we're acting like an old married couple. No, you know we're acting like this is the conversation that I have. Gabe and my son are the same age. Okay. And Gabe doesn't usually just come up with ridiculous, stupid points that just piss me off. See, my son actually makes it a point to purposefully find things that piss me off. Gabe doesn't purposely find things that piss me off. Sometimes he just happens to stumble across one. But it's kind of like that. And it makes me want to bash my head against a brick wall and wear a Gus Frerotte jersey. Just saying. That's all, folks. That is pretty much that's all. All right. The Pels, real quick, going back to the Pels, they will make a move today or tomorrow. 100%. And I think it will be a significant move. Whether it'll be Zion or, God forbid, I mean, if they trade somebody like Trey Murphy, I'm going to lose my mind. I don't think they would do that. But Herb, I'm not going to be happy about that, but they might. Jordan Poole, good riddance. I mean, don't trade Sadiq Bey, right? I don't know. Anyway. We have a lot of fun on this show. Again, if you have not yet become a member, we would appreciate it if you would consider it and help support the channel. But that is going to wrap it up for us on this. What day is it? Oh, Wednesday. Programming note. We got 2 more shows before we take a little break. 2 more shows left in season 5. Hopefully we won't have debates like this one anymore. I want to thank today's guest, of course, Madison Plummer. She was fantastic, wasn't she? And Gabe Henderson. Yep, I'm even thanking Gabe today. And you are always our guest. We love you. Remind us to subscribe. Even if you don't become a member, please subscribe to the Dedicated YouTube page. Click the little bell to receive notifications when we go on the air live, which is normally every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11 a.m. Central Time. We have lots of attitude on this show. We're not afraid to show it. You can also find us wherever you get your podcasts, including Apple, Spotify, and many more. I am off to take my blood pressure medicine. And I will see you all on Friday. Made it through. Made it through alive. We'll see y'all then. Take it easy, my friends.